Lads. Boy, do I have a good one for you guys today. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys my full deadlift guide as the strongest 16-year-old in the world. Before we get into this video today, I'm going to be strictly covering the conventional deadlift because that's how I pull. I'm not going to be giving you guys a sumo tutorial. Although I've pulled 7-plate sumo, I consider myself more of a specialist in conventional. So today I'm going to be giving you guys my full conventional deadlift guide. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright, so now first up, what will be covered in this video? So we're going to be covering everything from how to program your deadlifts, how to get good form on your deadlifts, how to find your right foot stance, the right accessories for deadlift. We're literally going to be covering everything. I promise you, you guys will learn a lot of things in this video that are going to help you blow up that deadlift. So just stick around. Pull out your notebook because I'm going to be going pretty quickly, and just pause whenever you guys need to take notes. Secondly, why should you guys trust me? Well, like I said, strongest 16-year-old in the world. I'm one of the only 16-year-olds in history to pull 300 kilos conventional, like 7 plates. I took my deadlift from that first photo there to that second photo in about 2.5 years. A 440-pound, 200 kilo increase in 2.5 years. But moving on. Part 1, warming up and injury prevention. Now, I can't express to you guys how important warming up is. I've pulled my spinal erector muscle twice, and both of those are a cause of me just being an idiot. They were easily preventable, which is why I'm telling you guys from first-hand experience to warm up properly. Now, what do I do for warm-ups? My warm-ups are actually very quick and simple. I just focus on getting blood flow into the muscles that I'm going to be working. So first up, what we're going to do is we're going to roll out whole body, like just legs, lower back, everything you need to. And especially make sure you guys roll out your feet. That sounds really weird, but make sure you guys roll out your feet. It's actually a game changer, honestly. And then moving on, what I do is I get on the bike, like that bike machine. The only time you'll ever catch me lacking on cardio is when I'm warming up for squats or deadlifts. All I do on the bike is sit on there for 5 minutes just so I can get the blood flowing in my legs. And then after that, I'll go onto the back extension machine like that photo down below. Or I'll do the other one where you like hold the plates and then you do the back extension there if the gym doesn't have the back extension machine. So that's also an option. I do about 2 sets of 10 to 12 on the back extension machine, just very light, not close to failure. But as I said earlier, we're really just trying to get blood flow into the muscle. Let's look at my deadlift form. So we're going to play a video of my deadlift form here. Let's have a look. I'm going to be covering what I'm thinking mentally when I do my deadlift. I'm also going to tell you guys how you can find your deadlift stand. Right here. So you guys see I have a very unique deadlift setup. I actually like pull my scapula back, and that's how I engage my lats. Now, I do say on my actual deadlift tutorial that are for my clients, it doesn't really matter how you engage your lats. It just matters that you do. So I do it like that because I want to look cool. But all there is to engaging your lats is just really tightening them. Like, I'm really big on making sure you're tight in your setup. This comes across on the bench, the squat, and the deadlift. But becoming really tight in your setup just ensures that nothing's going to go wrong, right? Just in general, the way I engage my lats is I fully extend my arms out, and then I just tense my lats, right? So it's pretty simple. That case, then your arms are also lengthened, because if they're too bent, you're going to tear your bicep. So there's also that. But yeah, all I do is I fully lengthen my arms before I go down into the deadlift so that I don't tear my bicep, and that I can also secondly engage my lats. Let's keep going. So with my fully lengthened arms, I come down to the deadlift bar. I grab it. I pull mixed grip, I grab it, and then I wedge into the bar. Now, you guys probably seen a lot of people, they say wedge this, wedge that. How do you actually wedge? Wedging is pretty simple, and all wedging is you'll notice how I actually bend the bar before the weight leaves the ground, right? So if you look at this here, bar's already bending before it leaves the ground. I come down and they're tight, but once I grab the bar, I'm really like retracting them again. So the action of retracting your lats is actually going to bend the bar while you're pulling it. So all you do is you have your arms lengthened, you get down to the bar, you retract your lats, and that should bend the bar in itself. And then all I'm thinking of doing in my mind, all I'm picturing in my mind is doing a leg press. Instead of thinking of pulling the weight, think of the deadlift in a way of I'm trying to push the weight away from the ground. And in that case, what you're gonna find is that you're a lot more upright in your positioning. And then from there, it's smooth sailing. I see a lot of you guys complaining about my back rounding, but I actually round my upper back, not my lower back. So there's no stress on my lower back. All I'm doing by actually rounding my upper back is I actually decrease the range of motion for myself. So that is what I'm thinking of when I'm doing my deadlifts. My upper back just naturally rounds. I wouldn't really recommend you guys try to practice that because you guys will probably end up rounding your lower back. But like I said, guys, just try to think in your mind when you grab the bar, as you have your hips up and you're kind of swinging into the deadlift, I want you to think about engaging your lats so you can start in an upright position and then think about pushing the weight away from the floor. Moving on to part 3. Now we have the deadlift variations and deadlift accessories. Now, I see people doing some funky ass accessories to try and increase their deadlift. I think there's only 2 deadlift accessories that are actually beneficial to you, at least from a conventional deadlift standpoint. So, the first accessory being deficit deadlifts as pictured on the left, the second being pause deadlifts on the right. You guys really want to be doing one or the other when it comes to conventional deadlift, and I'm going to label you guys the benefits of each. So the whole idea of deficit deadlifts is to increase the range of motion and to make it harder off the ground. It's going to increase that range of motion, so once you actually go back to doing it just off of the ground, it feels way easier coming off the ground. That's all deficit deadlifts. All deficit deadlifts is placing a plate under your feet when you deadlift. It can be any weight you want depending on how hard you want it to be. That's what deficit deadlifts will help with. Next on, so my favorite deadlift accessory is actually pause deadlifts. Now, what pause deadlifts really helps with is 1, it also helps with that speed off the ground. But 2, most importantly, it helps with your positioning. If you notice your hips rising very quickly, if you notice them rising before the weights even left the ground, do pause deadlifts. What pause deadlifts do is, I see a lot of people do the pause deadlifts wrong. They pause it at like their knees and shit. What you actually want to do with pause deadlifts is you want to pause it as close to the ground as possible. Basically, as soon as you lift the weight off the floor, pause it right there. And what that's going to force you to do is it's going to force your hips to stay in position, or you literally won't be able to do the rep efficiently. The whole idea of pause deadlifts is to help you with that start position and maintain good positioning throughout the whole lift. Let's move on to part 4. So the fourth and final point to increasing your deadlift is obviously, well, Angus, how do I program the deadlifts? I'm going to answer that question right now. There is absolutely no need to overcomplicate deadlifts. The whole programming for deadlifts is different to squat as it is different to bench. All you need to do to increase your deadlift is to deadlift twice a week. That's literally all you need to do. I would heavily suggest you have 1 accessory day targeting your weak point on your deadlift. Like I said, if you struggle off of the floor, then do deficits once a week. And if you struggle with positioning, your hips rising too quick, then you do pause deadlifts at least once a week. And then on the other day, do a normal deadlift day. Aside from that, well, when do you go for PRs, right? Now, how often you go for PRs is dependent on how strong you are. Now, if you've been lifting for 2+ years, I wouldn't recommend maxing out more than once a month. But if you've been training for about a year, really, if you feel good, just max out. Enjoy those newbie gains, because I would do anything to have those newbie gains back, and you guys will regret not doing it if you guys don't utilize those newbie gains where you guys can just max out every second session, then you're gonna regret that, my boy. With how the programming of deadlifts actually work, it's very simple. All you guys need to do a top set on any given day, and then you do your back downs. So for your accessory day, your paused or deficit deadlifts, all I would do is a top set of 2 or 3. There's really no need to be doing singles on those. And then do 3 sets of 4 for back downs. That's what I've found has been the most effective for me and my clients. Do a 3 sets of 4 back downs and just do 10, 20 kilos less depending on how strong you are already. And then on your primary deadlift day, same thing. Do your top set, and then after that, you go back down. And then for me, at least on deadlifts, is I'll do my top set and then I'll do 2 or 3 back down sets, but then I'll actually do another back down set way lighter. Now I'm going to tell you guys how that works. What I would do for my back downs after that is about 230 to 240 kilos for 3 for my back downs, depending on how I feel on the day. And then after that, I drop it even lighter to 210 kilos. You guys can see how big of a drop off that is, but for deadlifts, your body really needs that last fatigue back down set. That's what I like to call it. I call it a fatigue back down set. And your body will thank you for that once you come around to pause deadlifts the next week. Now, finishing off, if this deadlift tutorial helped you, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to provide you guys a lot more value through my content now. Pretty tired of gatekeeping it all. Now, if you do want one-on-one coaching from me, I do have a guarantee that I can add 100 pounds onto your total in less than 3 months, or I'll give you all your money back. And if you actually came from YouTube, there's a 50% discount for the coaching. So you guys can DM me on Instagram telling me that you actually came from YouTube, and I can offer you 50% off my one-on-one coaching. Aside from that, I dropped all my V2 programs on my website, and if you want to check that out, that'll be linked in bio. You can use code YouTube to get 30% off any program. And that ranges from squat, bench, deadlift, hypertrophy, and even world record edition V2 for all of them. So yeah, you can use code YouTube for 30% off that. But apart from that, stay blessed.